Hello, fans of video games. Welcome to Route and Steel. Gamers, if you will. Uh, this is a game I've been playing a lot of. I think Steam says I've got 50 hours in it. I'd say maybe half of that is solo and half of that is with a friend. Basically, it's a little run-based... they call it like a raid simulator. Like, you know, what you do in MMOs with a group of people. But you can also play it solo, which is fun. Admittedly, I have not played many MMOs, but I did play a lot of, well, League of Legends in college, so I am familiar with, like, managing cooldowns. And so, yeah, the crux of the game is that you pick a class, maybe with friends. That class has different abilities. You use those abilities in a semi-efficient rotation to maximize your DPS, and then you face a series of bosses, and every once in a while it gives you an item or two or three, or, you know, and sometimes you can go to a shop and buy upgrades to your abilities and potions and things. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'm not very good. I've beaten the game exactly once on hard, but I beat the game on normal basically every time now. So there is, like, I feel like each difficulty level is like maybe an order of magnitude harder than the previous. Because then, yeah, on Lunatic I just die on the very first fight, so it's sort of a lot. I guess I'll go through my abilities just so you know what they do. We basically, there are 4 abilities on each character. There's like a primary, a secondary, a special, and a defensive. Usually your primary, secondary, and special all have what's called a GDC, which is a global cooldown, which means that once you press that button, you can't press another button with a global cooldown for that amount of time. So it's essentially like, yeah, I don't know, the end of an attack animation or something. You can't cancel out of it. You're just stuck not doing that. You can, however, use an ability without a global cooldown when you're on global cooldown. So, like, almost all defensives don't have a global cooldown. They just have a normal cooldown. And then some abilities, like the special, usually has a global cooldown and a cooldown. Anyway, the way this class works, it's pretty simple. It's like a ranged class. Our primaries just deal 200 damage in a radius. When you use it, it actually slows you, so you can see once I use it there, I'm like stuck in place for a bit. We have a secondary that does 120 damage in a radius, so less than, you know, my primary, but it has a lower global cooldown, and it charges my special. And what that means is your special does 1.5 times damage when used. And then your special has a 7-second cooldown, a 1.2 GDC, 280 damage, but it resets 30% of the time when using your primary. And then finally, your defensive actually gets 2 charges per cooldown. It places a little field down that gives you 15% more damage. And so you kind of want to do that twice per cooldown to maximize sort of the uptime of this damage buff. Theoretically, you have 100% uptime if you're using it perfectly every time, but in actuality, you don't quite have that. Especially if you're using it for the actual defensive purpose, which erases bullets around you and makes you invulnerable for a bit. So yeah, my typical, like, rotation with this character at the start is put down the field, cast my secondary to charge my special. You can see it has like a little exclamation point by it, and it was like lit up. And so you cast the special, and then I usually cast secondary again and then spam primary, because primary has a chance to reset the cooldown of my special. The special is clearly the damage dealer at the beginning. It also doesn't slow you when you use it. Both your secondary and your special don't slow. Your primary does, so your primary is harder to use when you're under pressure. All right, we'll see if we can if I can actually talk while I play this game. Yeah, so basically the bosses will, like, put a bunch of crap on the field, and then you have to dodge said crap. I probably shouldn't have put my circle there, but we're fine. Yeah, so those circles are just like telling you where it's going to attack next. There you go. That's the first boss. And we did 201 damage, or damage per second, which is decent for a level 1 witch. I've got up to like 230, 240 maybe, but the game has random crits. Like, I think by default 30% of your attacks crit, so it's not some of it's luck. All right, and then here's your like loot drafting phase. Basically, it's going to give you an array of items, and you pick one of those items. When you're playing with a group, you actually have to sort of split up the items between yourselves, which is pretty fun. Abilities that hit for 100 damage or less now hit for 100. That's not very good for us. All of our abilities hit for more than 100. It's kind of good for classes that have like multi-hit moves, but secondaries damage by 50%, decrease radius by 40%. Movement speed. Every 12 seconds when I stand still, gain Fluent for 5 seconds, which means my special does 70% more damage. That's okay. I think the problem with that is that I don't really have a reliable way to just cast my special over and over again, because it has a 7-second cooldown. So some of that time is going to be spent trying to reset the cooldown. It's not going to be very reliable. Honestly, secondary damage by 50% sounds okay. Maybe we can do like a weird secondary build on a witch, which I've not really ever done. I mean, Tiny Wings is a good defensive. Seashell Shield I would get on a character that's not the witch. They typically have 15-second defensive cooldowns. But since the witch kind of gets to use her thing twice anyway in her cooldown, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't feel that, like, impactful. We'll do this. And so that's buffed the damage of our secondary to 182. Which actually, like, 182 divided by 1.2 is 151 DPS. 202 divided by 1.5 is 134. So, like, right now, our secondary actually does better DPS than our primary. So the only reason we want to use our primary is to reset our special, I think. Anyway, let's move on, see what happens. Yeah, so we're having to get to one side of the screen because of the cleave. There's like a bar that you have to dodge, and there's a line you have to be in. Yeah, so you can see our DPS was a lot better there, largely because I was just spamming secondary. If we could like build around the secondary, that would be useful, and then we wouldn't ever have to cast the primary. All right, what do we got here? Okay, Oni Staff is pretty bad for us because our percent chance makes our special reset, and then it would immediately go on an 8-second cooldown. So, like, that's a downside to Oni Staff. It's 30% more damage, but when a percent chance succeeds, your special goes on cooldown, which isn't great. I don't think Greysteel Shield is great on this character. I mean, the larger radius is kind of nice. Then you can sit in your 15% damage buff easier. Specials cooldown. The problem with this is that we're incentivized using our secondary, and so we don't want to spam our primary to force the reset. So I don't know about that. 12 seconds fires, or 20 times apply spark. I think if we had a multi-hit character, that would be better. I think Lightning Bow is probably it, right? Oh, but, like, I just said I didn't want to spam primary. I mean, by itself, right? Lightning Bow is 25 DPS that you don't really have to worry about. I mean, maybe Stonebreaker Staff is fine. Like, the cooldown of this is 7 seconds. Which is, you know, less than 40% more time, but it deals 40% more damage. I guess I could do right. I mean, you don't have to think about Raiju Crown. The cool thing about Raiju Crown 2 is that it ticks itself 5 times after the first time. And then we could draft more stuff. I don't know. This is a bit strange. We don't have to play around the secondary. We could just say the secondary is like a nice bonus. Let's get Lightning Bow and play around that, maybe. Play around the primary more than we were. I don't know. There I used my defensive to just go through the laser because I didn't feel like dodging it. Alright, not too bad. Church Mouse. Alright. I'm pretty bad at the mice boss. We might just die here. Let's see what upgrades we have. Now that's an interesting primary spam. I did say we wanted primary spam. Because it maximizes the chances we get this reset and our lightning bow goes off more often. So that's pretty tempting. And you just spam primary. I guess it reduces the damage by 50% though. But it reduces the cooldown by, or the GCD by 66%. Okay. That's an interesting idea. We got this. Secondary 180 damage. Charges my special. Deals more damage. Has 3 uses and a cooldown of 8 seconds. 30% more damage if the enemy's facing away from you. I don't know. A bit weird. Damage is reduced. Hits 4 times. If we would have got the, like, Raiju... that crown, this is nice, because then you get multi-hits. And that's a decent upgrade to our defensive. Basically, you don't have to stand in a field anymore. You can just move around freely, but it lasts less time, but the cooldown's less. Let's try this primary spam. And yeah, since I'm bad at the mice, I'm gonna get a 2 health potion. And I'll take this golden potion, because it pays for itself in 2 fights, and there's like 4 fights in a round. And I don't have really anything better to spend my money on. You can spend the money on level ups, and basically each level gives you 1% more damage. It's not terribly impactful, so... yeah, so here we're just sitting in the middle of all this crap. Basically, there's just a bunch of crap on screen, and you gotta get in these corners. Alright. I mean, it's okay damage. It's like, the damage against, when you have multiple enemies like that, is a little hard to measure, because you're basically, AoE attacks can hit both. And so, like, if you have a high DPS, it could just mean that you're good at hitting both. Let's just try this primary spam thing, where I just spam primary and see how much damage I do. Okay, that was solid. I think it's probably not worth mixing in the secondary, except when I want to not get stuck in place by the primary. I think. I just noticed we drafted so many things that reduce our radius. Usually Witch has these giant circles, but here her circles are so small. Alright. That is affecting, like, our ability to... Oh, I never know what to do on this stupid one. It's like you have to get outside of the tether first. I don't know. Okay, I'm always confused on this one. Like, what order do I do things in? I don't know. You have to get away from the tethers. So there you get away from the tether. And then you come in, I remember that. I'm getting a little lost in the sauce here. Yeah, I kind of wish I had... So basically, I can only hit both the enemies with my special, I think. Everything else is too small, which is going to hurt on this boss because the mini bosses have a lot more health than okay, so here we've got numbers. You got to stay away from the number. Oh god, screwed that up. They're going off in that order, and so you got to stay away from you gotta stay away from the one that's going off. Mice are a little awkward for Witch, too, because they don't want her to stand still, and Witch would like to stand still if she could, so she can sit in her aura. Ow. That was optional damage. It's fine. That's why I've got the potion. So the potion heals us 2, and then each time you get a chest, it heals you 2, so technically full health. See, we had worse DPS on that boss than we did on the single target boss. But it's because we could stand still against the single target boss. I mean, we're only invulnerable for like a second every time we use Astra. Maybe that's good. No, I don't know. Bloodhound Greatsword, you have to be sort of close to enemies, but it's decent. Like, you're getting... 380 divided by 12 is almost 32 DPS. And then how many times you're able to proc the bleed gives you, like, you know... Theoretically, I could just spam primary and get it every half second, and then that'd be another 40 DPS, but I don't really think I'm doing that. I don't know. It's like hard to get a sense of what the optimal builds are, and it's like pretty tricky. I don't know. Because they like change every game. It's like you have a completely different like set of moves you're using, even if you're playing the same character. There's no percent chances here, right? Yeah. I mean, this might be nice in terms of a defensive ability to have another way to get a defense. We can try that. Like, so, yeah, so like I vanish when I use my special, and when I'm vanished, I can't get hurt. But it ends right when I use any other move. But that move does like 30% more damage, I think. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna try it out. This boss hurts my brain. How I just didn't. I should have just banished. Who am I kidding? Okay, here's an example of just spamming secondary, I think, because I don't want to. Oh, now I can move without. So I gotta set. The weight maybe does that. Sometimes when you have a debuff on you, you get to. Sometimes when you have a debuff on you, you get to move when you normally couldn't move very well. Okay, so this one sucks. Okay, so here... you need to move here. It's, like, really confusing. It's incredible that I did that without getting... Okay, we got hit. Alright, we have a bunch of tethers. Oh, we need to get up. Barely. Third tether. Fourth tether. We're really cooking here. Alright. This one you just kind of rotate around. I like the spamming of the primary. I think that's... Oh, here we have a problem, I think. Okay, we hit... Because we need AoEs for this. There's some. We just need to reset our special over and over again. Alright. It's fine. The special's big enough that it hits all those stupid rats, so we're good. Man, I thought I could get through that. I shouldn't have tried to go through the giant part of the circle. Can I get my special to reset, please? No? Okay. Alright. Alright. We got there. I don't remember how this one works. Fuck. I needed to use my special, so I vanished. Okay, we need to remember that. Like here. Oh, I didn't... I didn't press it fast enough. Oh. Alright, I hate mouse. Mouse is horrible. I don't know how to dodge some of those patterns. I think what it is I'm supposed to be on the other side so that it comes down and then the like column spread procs and then I can move left to avoid the giant circle. I'm always on the wrong side of it and then I'm like having to invincibility through the giant circle. And yeah, I discounted the cast time on my special. It's not like your defensive ability where it comes out immediately. So I needed to press it sooner than I thought. And it would have been safe too, because it gives you 3 seconds of vanish. We'll do some wizard again. I'm not going to try to confuse myself by playing different characters. I think that's a nightmare. Alright. Although again, it is a bit confusing that, like... Each game, you kind of have different abilities you're pressing in different orders because of what items you got. Alright, you see, that was a better DPS than the first time, right? I had like 200 something. 2-0 something. It's 229. Much better. We could do a secondary build again. It's honestly not bad. Like 70% more of 121 is 205. So that's pretty. Like when that's on, it's just worth it to spam secondary, I think. I mean, average case for the percent chance succeeds is not, like, incredible. 20% chance of 200, like, 20% of 200 is just 40 DPS, but I'm gaining more than 40 DPS this way, aren't I? 121 divided by 1.2 is 100 almost, and then what was the other value I said? 1.7 times 121 is 205 divided by 1.2 is 171. So yeah, that's a lot of DPS, but it doesn't have 100% uptime either. But then when that's not on, I can use a better... I don't know. These are so hard for me to analyze. Let's do this. Whatever. Simple. We just get to spam that. Alright, not incredible. But we can build around it. I think only my special is over 1.5. Oh no, only my primary is 1.5. Even more secondary. Or we could do Old Bonnet, which improves the damage of my secondary immensely, because this isn't real damage. This is getting applied via buff, right? So it's going from 120 to 250, and then it's getting buffed 70% when Flodex is up. Seems good. This is bad because I don't have a way to proc percent chances when my primary's down. Secondary has a 40% chance to give me flash strength. No, see, that's the opposite of what I want. Well, that just means I have to splash in primaries. But yeah, Old Bonnet, I think, is the way to go. It also buffs our primary. Yeah, so now our secondary and our primary have the same amount of damage. So again, only time you want to use the primary is to reset the... Oh, it nerfed our special. Yeah, so now we're just spamming secondary. I sort of forgot about that effect of Old Bonnet. We could get that back if we make our secondary or our special like multi-hit. Then Old Bonnet wouldn't apply. But yeah, okay. Our game plan is literally spam special. Or spam secondary. Alright. We're doing good damage. Yeah. And we've greatly simplified what buttons we need to press, so that's something. Alright, what's the secondary upgrade? Bad. I think in general, bad. Yeah, we'll take the defensive upgrade because we can't really use these other upgrades. Rabbit Luck means that you have a 100% crit chance and any percent chances have a 100% chance to proc. And so yeah, while we're standing in the field, we have 100% rabbit luck, which is gross. Or we have 100% crit chance, which is probably pretty good. The rest of this I can't really use. We'll go golden potion and regen again. We got kind of lucky in terms of we're critting. I guess there is still a reason to use your special, sort of, and that is that it's charged by your secondary, so it's doing 50% more damage than your secondary, but with the same GCD. So yeah, it's still worth using special when it's charged. And flow dex is down. This boss is kind of silly. It like locks you in lines, basically. Yeah, we got pretty good damage going this time. I just have like muscle memory for hitting special when I see it charged, even though it's not. Alright, so this is like some teleport shenanigans. Basically, those timers are going to teleport you every so often. Oops, I wasn't paying attention. I completely zoned out. I probably should have waited on... Oh, this is going first. This is bad. We're getting hit. Maybe twice. Not quite twice, but... I thought the vertical was going first, but the horizontal was going first. The horizontal teleport. I hate this one. I always get hit. Yeah. I don't really know where you're supposed to go. Anyway, that was the mini boss. This is why we buy the potion. Problem is, the potion does not... The heal potion only shows up on the first fight. It doesn't show up on later ones. Okay, so Old Bonnet sounds like it overrides Dark Glass Spear. Yokai Bracelet is awful for us because we need crit. Dark Glass Sphere, I don't think does anything for us because it gets overridden by Old Bonnet, so I'm pretty sure we have to draft Flame Bow. Which isn't bad. It's just... So Burn essentially does the amount of damage that it did initially. So this is essentially doing 360 damage every 10 seconds, so like 36 DPS. It does scale with your level, and it can maybe crit. We'll find out, I guess. I'll have to pay attention. I'm pretty sure items can crit. That was optional damage. I think it did crit. I saw a 400 in there when the bow hit. We kind of want to have Rabbit Luck on every time Flodex is on. We tried. I would like off the ride, please. We want to Rabbit Luck up because our Flodex is up. Alright, so there he time stops you, and then he's going to show you a sequence of moves he's going to do, and then you just got to do the right thing. Alright, so it's no teleports, and we just got to be on the correct side of the rotating laser, basically. There you go. Not too bad. These lasers don't rotate past halfway, so... just be on the other half. Oh, interesting. All my cooldowns are frozen here, so I probably shouldn't just waste cooldowns. 2 teleports left, and we need to be... oh, this is bad. Yeah. And we're getting teleported left again. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I guess at the bottom... I'm scared. Holy. I really wanted to kill him before this. I really shouldn't have put my other thing on cooldown. Okay, those are all turning down, and then we teleport, and then there's that. Okay, so this is fine. We just need to go up, I think. Stand here. These all rotate. We get teleported into the laser. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Well, that was Rabbit and Seal. You can see I'm not quite a master of hard yet, but I'm going to continue playing hard because easy, or not easy, but normal, is sort of trivial compared to it. And I like having a, you know, I like feeling like I'm having a challenge. So there you go. Thanks for watching.